Sir, we have a situation.
What's that?
White House down.
White House down?
White House down.
The hell does that mean?
Terrorists have taken over the White House.
Really? Because this sounds an awful lot like Olympus Has Fallen.
I assure you, sir, it's a totally different movie.
How so?
Jamie Foxx is the president in this one.
And?
Channing Tatum is the heroic lead.
Who?
Duke from G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe is in this one?
No, sir.
You're certain?
Eagle 2, this is Eagle 1. Confirmation on G.I. Joe.
That is a negative, Eagle 1. No sign of G.I. Joe.
No G.I. Joe?
No G.I. Joe.
No G.I. Joe, sir.
Damn it. Welcome back to our tens of fans. Joining me tonight, in the back we have Paul.
And I'm still Paul.
And riding shotgun, Super Phil. Super Phil.
What's up?
You almost stole Josh's.
But I didn't. It's just a little bit different.
I can because I'm in his seat.
Yeah.
So, White House down. I'm pretty indifferent about this. I think that's pretty much what everybody's feelings are.
Is this Olympus Has Fallen 2? As in 2, not T-O-O. Or both works.
Yeah, both works with that.
I'm not excited about this movie because Olympus Has Fallen came out. And I guess it's not really fair to this movie, but we are going to compare and contrast and be like, well, that's the same, they should have done this, yada yada, to that movie, you know? And I don't know what they were thinking coming out with the same movie pretty much a few months later. I mean, I don't know. If it was me, I would have waited till the end of the year or possibly next summer. Then again, that's why I don't work in Hollywood.
The trailers make it look exactly like Olympus Has Fallen, which was, of course, amazing.
Except you don't have the leading man of Gerard Butler or Aaron Eckhart. And it looks like they're going with a lot of comedy from the one trailer that I've seen.
All ones of trailers he's watched.
It's the same trailer. A lot of these summer releases, you'll have the teaser and then trailer 1 and then trailer 2 and possibly, 3 or 4. But I've seen the same trailer in front of various movies, and I'm just not excited. Channing Tatum is not a leading man as far as I'm concerned. I just don't care for him.
Yeah.
What's the one with him and Gerard Butler? Upstanding Citizen?
Oh, Law-Abiding Citizen.
That was awesome.
That was good.
That was a good one.
I just don't think Channing Tatum needs to be the lead guy.
From what I've heard, Channing Tatum actually does pretty good with comedy, but he's just not that likable.
I liked him in 21 Jump Street. That movie was great. But honestly, I think you could have probably put anybody in that spot opposite Jonah Hill, and it would have still been good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a Jamie Foxx fan too. Loved him in Ray. Actually, he was one of the only good things I liked about the movie Due Date. It was him and Robert Downey Jr. The rest of the movie.
I forgot about him.
Yeah. Just... I hate Zach Galifianakis. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I hate him. Sure, he's a nice guy in real life, but God, you play dumbasses. But yeah, Channing Tatum is kind of meh. He's almost like Paul Walker without a personality.
I was gonna say that.
You were?
Yeah, I was gonna say that Monday.
Channing Tatum, so one-dimensional. He is a soldier. That's pretty much all he ever plays. I mean, takes orders and shoots people. That's the only thing. It's like Paul Walker, like he said, for the Fast and Furious. It's perfect for the Fast and the Furious. But any other movie, he's not really that great in. I mean, he's just that one-dimensional. Jamie Foxx is talented. Yeah, just... At least Olympus Has Fallen had Gerard Butler. And now we swapped it for Channing Tatum, and it's like already a step down. I'm sorry. Maybe he was great in Magic Mike. I don't know. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on this. Oh my God! Greatest movie ever. Channing Tatum is the greatest actor ever.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna buy Magic Mike right now because Channing Tatum is amazing.
Amazing. Josh, why couldn't you be here? Amazing.
So many emotions. So complex. I must follow him on Twitter and Facebook now.
I had really low expectations for it. This is kind of like one of those sci-fi movies that uses...
CP. As they do now.
Whatever.
As they spell it now.
It's like they name a movie to sound similar to another movie. Like instead of Transformers, you have Transmorphers. And people think that it's a movie that it's really not. And that's kind of how this was. You can see where they saved on the budget with a lot of CGI. Vehicles and helicopters and planes, which I guess would be very expensive and much easier to CGI. But still, it's basically the sci-fi version of Olympus Has Fallen.
But they had to change it just a little bit here
Right.
and there. Like, instead of Aaron Eckhart, it's Jamie Foxx as the president. Instead of Gerard Butler, you have Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
Instead of the son getting kidnapped and held prisoner, it's the daughter.
Yep.
And instead of Korean terrorists, you just have militant people with a chip on their shoulders.
Yeah.
Olympus Has Fallen was realistic, well thought out. This was like the bargain basement version of it. It's like, this is totally unbelievable. There were so many flaws in it. Channing Tatum was an idiot. I'm sorry. I mean, there was one point where they're talking about the White House getting burned down in the War of 1812. He's like, "You got burnt down. You are a military person and you don't know basic U.S. history." I actually face-palmed on that.
I figured it was going to be kind of the buddy cop kind of feel. You have the president and Channing Tatum running around with little one-liners thrown in, which, quite frankly, weren't very funny. The ones that the audience seemed to laugh at were the ones from the trailer as far as the two main characters. However, the redeeming factors for me was the tour guide and the computer hacker. Those were like the two best parts of the movies.
Yeah. The bad guy and second string character were the more likable characters.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
James Woods was in it, but every time he talked, all I could hear was blah 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 blah. I'm James Woods. Blah 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 blah.
Jamie Foxx still did an alright job, but
anybody else could have done the exact same things that
Yeah.
he did.
yeah, pretty much you're getting star power by having Jamie Foxx and Channing Tatum in it. You had Maggie Gyllenhaal. She wasn't a very huge part of it. I mean, she was in it, but I mean, all the characters could have easily been replaced by lesser known people.
The action scenes were forced and cheesy. Channing Tatum can dive further and longer than any person humanly possible. unless they're from Krypton. It's just... who knew it was a comedy? Really? I mean, there was some funny parts in it, but it was like, really? There's comic relief when the country is falling apart. It's supposed to be an action movie, but it was just cheesy to me. I mean, like I said, we were going to compare it to Olympus Has Fallen, and we did, and Olympus Has Fallen wins.
It seems to me that it was trying too hard to blend comedy and action. It's almost like it was trying to be a Lethal Weapon-esque movie, you know, blending badassery with hilarity, and it just didn't do that. All of the things that were supposed to be these big, epic things, I'm like, I've seen that 10,000 times before. You have done nothing different with it.
Hey, why don't we go see it in 3D? Everything's better in 3D, right? Nope. Still sucked.
Still sucked.
It still sucked.
I'm starting to think G.I. Joe should have been in this one. Okay, filmmaking 101. If your movie can't take itself seriously, your audience isn't gonna take you seriously. Remember how awesome we said Olympus Has Fallen was? The well-written and acted characters paired with a great story that draws you in? This movie is what happens when the writers take a vacation and, while on that vacation, decide to make it a buddy comedy. They failed. Okay, getting ahead of myself. Channing Tatum's character is a former soldier who wants to work for the President's Secret Service. Sound familiar? And he's turned down. But not wanting to be more of a bad father to his daughter than he already is, takes her on a tour of the White House to show her where he'll be working. Okay, so what was your big plan to do after this tour, genius? Were you just gonna keep lying to her, drive over to the White House, and hope that they decide to give you another shot? And cue the terrorist attack. Commandos take over the White House, and the president and the guy's daughter are held captive. Again, sound familiar? Seriously guys, White House Down is basically a spoof of Olympus Has Fallen. The stories are virtually identical, and what they changed isn't worth the effort of changing it. And the comedy? Not that funny.
Get your hands off my joints!
Really?
I know you're into peace and all that. You gotta stick that thing out there and go to work.
Are they doing donuts on the lawn of the White House?
I lost the rocket launcher. You lost? How do you lose a rocket launcher?
Yeah, that's kind of a legitimate question.
Shoot him! No, don't shoot him!
No, Mr. President, just go ahead and shoot them both. Now, there have been a few instances in movies where comedy and action were actually blended together quite well. And by that I mean it's been done a lot. Lethal Weapon, Rush Hour, Indiana Jones, True Lies, Die Hard, Beverly Hills Cop, The Rock, Bad Boys, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Tango and Cash, The Last Boy Scout, Rumble in the Bronx. I know that Jamie Foxx can be funny. I know that Channing Tatum can be funny. But my question is, why are you trying to make a terrorist attack on the White House funny? You can't do that, guys. You can't not take an attack on our nation's capital seriously. And I can't take this movie seriously. I have no choice but to give White House Down 1 Crashing Air Force One out of 5. This is the first one that I've given a movie on the show. So in case you're keeping track, Alice in Wonderland was better. Machete was better. Sucker Punch was better. That one hurt me to say. Even Batman and Robin, one of the worst reviewed movies of all time, I got more enjoyment out of it than this. Okay, when you're making this
Let's get some ice.
look good, you're doing something wrong.
Cool party.
Just wait for Olympus Has Fallen to come out on DVD. Don't waste your money on this. This is Justin with On The Road Reviews, and we'll see you in the movie line. Hopefully at a better movie.
I'm in the White House. They've taken the building and they're holding hostages, including my daughter.
Alpha 1, do you have the target? Roger that. We're holding the president in the library.
That's the library. Don't go in there. Just... Oh, this is so stupid.